Sleep, once as natural as breathing, often becomes elusive as we age. If you're over 70 and find yourself staring at the ceiling long after the lights go out, you're not alone. Insomnia is a silent companion for many seniors, robbing them of rest, energy, and peace of mind. But why does it happen? What changes in our bodies and minds make sleep harder to come by? In today's video, we're diving deep into the overlooked reasons why older adults struggle with sleep. Some causes might surprise you. Others may confirm what you've quietly suspected for years. Either way, understanding them is the first step toward reclaiming restful nights. Before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Have you experienced trouble sleeping in your later years? Leave a comment below sharing your story. It helps others feel less alone. And if this topic speaks to you, please consider subscribing to our channel. Together, let's uncover the truth behind senior insomnia and find ways to sleep easier, one night at a time. Let's begin. 1. Age-related changes in sleep architecture. One of the most fundamental and often misunderstood reasons seniors struggle with insomnia lies in the natural transformation of sleep itself as we age. It's called sleep architecture, the structure and pattern of our sleep cycles. And for those over 70, that architecture often becomes unstable, fragmented, and lighter. In our younger years, we glide through cycles of deep sleep and REM sleep with relative ease. Deep sleep, or slow-wave sleep, is where the real healing happens. Our bodies repair, our brains reset. But as we grow older, the proportion of time spent in these deeper stages begins to shrink. We spend more time in lighter sleep stages, making us more vulnerable to awakenings throughout the night. The sound of a clock ticking or a distant siren might now be enough to pull you from your slumber. This shift isn't your fault. It's not something you caused by doing or not doing something. It's biology. The brain's sleep-wake regulators, especially the suprachiasmatic nucleus and pineal gland, become less efficient with age. Melatonin, the hormone that signals to your body it's time to sleep, declines. Circadian rhythms that once followed a predictable pattern begin to drift, often causing seniors to feel sleepy earlier in the evening and wake much earlier than desired. Do you find yourself waking up at 3 or 4 a.m., unable to fall back asleep? You're not alone. This phenomenon, called advanced sleep phase, is extremely common in older adults and contributes significantly to insomnia. It often leads to frustration, naps during the day, and even anxiety about bedtime, further complicating sleep. And here's something important. Insomnia isn't just about not sleeping. It's about how that lack of sleep affects your mood, memory, balance, and even your immune function. When your body doesn't reach those deeper stages of sleep consistently, it can take a toll on your overall health in ways that might not be immediately obvious. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you noticed that your sleep is lighter or more fragmented than it used to be? Drop a comment below and let's support each other in this shared experience. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. These conversations are just getting started, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. 2. Chronic health conditions and medications. Another major reason why sleep becomes a nightly challenge for many seniors lies in the very thing that often accompanies aging: chronic health conditions and the medications used to manage them. The truth is, your body doesn't exist in isolation, and what affects your health during the day doesn't simply switch off at night. Let's start with the conditions themselves. Arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, COPD, gastrointestinal disorders, prostate enlargement, and neurological issues like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's all come with symptoms that can disrupt your rest. Pain, discomfort, difficulty breathing, frequent urination, or even restless limbs can cause repeated awakenings. Even the position you sleep in may be limited by joint stiffness or chronic pain. For example, someone living with arthritis might fall asleep easily, but wake up frequently due to joint pain. Or a person with an enlarged prostate may have to use the bathroom multiple times a night. This fragmentation of sleep prevents the body from cycling properly through the restorative phases needed for true rest. Then there are medications, often meant to help you live more comfortably, but with side effects that interfere with your sleep. Beta blockers for high blood pressure, corticosteroids for inflammation, diuretics, antidepressants. Even over-the-counter antihistamines can all alter your sleep cycle. Some may cause drowsiness during the day but restlessness at night. Others reduce REM sleep or cause vivid dreams and night wakings. What's worse, many seniors are prescribed multiple medications. This phenomenon, called polypharmacy, increases the risk of drug interactions and side effects that affect sleep quality. Your liver's ability to process medications also slows with age, which means even standard doses can linger in your system longer than expected, further disturbing your rest. And here's the tricky part. These disruptions can create a vicious cycle. Poor sleep worsens chronic conditions, and those worsening conditions further disrupt sleep. Over time, this can lead to increased fatigue, depression, irritability, and a reduced quality of life. But there's hope. Understanding the connection between your health and your sleep is the first step in making meaningful changes. Talk to your doctor about sleep-friendly medication schedules. Ask whether any of your prescriptions could be adjusted or swapped for alternatives with fewer sleep-related side effects. Have you ever noticed your sleep changing after starting a new medication? Or do you manage a health condition that affects your sleep every night? Share your story in the comments. It may help someone else realize they're not alone. And don't forget to like this video if it's helping you understand your own sleep journey better. Every like and comment helps us reach more people walking the same path. 3. Emotional and mental health challenges. Sleep doesn't just respond to the physical. It's deeply tied to our emotions, our thoughts, and our inner world. For many seniors, especially those over 70, the weight of emotional and mental health struggles becomes heavier with time, and this weight often shows itself most clearly in the silence of the night. Loneliness is a powerful force. As spouses, siblings, and lifelong friends pass away, the social circles that once gave life rhythm begin to shrink. Adult children may live far away, and daily conversations become fewer. Loneliness doesn't just hurt the heart, it alters the brain's chemistry. It can increase levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, which disrupts sleep patterns and keeps the body in a state of alertness, even in the middle of the night. Depression and anxiety are also more common in older adults than many realize, but they often go undiagnosed. Depression in seniors doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it looks like fatigue, irritability, or a disinterest in things that once brought joy. It can cause difficulty falling asleep, early morning waking, or sleeping too much but never feeling rested. Anxiety, on the other hand, can manifest as a racing mind that won't settle, especially when the lights go out. And grief, perhaps the most silent companion of all, lingers long after a loss. It has no schedule and doesn't obey the rules of time. A scent, a song, a memory can rise unbidden and stir the heart awake at 2 a.m. Many seniors carry these emotional weights quietly, believing it's just part of getting older. But these emotional burdens deeply influence the body's ability to rest. Sleep is a vulnerable state. In order to fall into it, we must feel safe, physically and emotionally. But when the mind is preoccupied with worry, regret, or sadness, it becomes difficult to let go. Seniors may also develop a fear of sleep itself, especially after health scares or the death of a partner in their sleep. This fear can manifest as insomnia, even if the body is physically exhausted. So what can be done? The first step is acknowledgement. Emotional pain is real, and it matters. Speaking to a counselor, a spiritual advisor, or even a trusted friend can be profoundly healing. There are also support groups specifically for seniors, both in person and online, where sharing your experience can lighten the burden. Have you experienced restless nights due to grief or worry? Have your thoughts kept you awake when your body was begging for rest? If you feel comfortable, share your experience in the comments below. You never know who you might comfort just by opening up. And if you're finding this video helpful, hit that subscribe button. We're building a community that listens, understands, and uplifts one another. 4. Lifestyle changes and lack of routine. As the years pass, one subtle but powerful disruptor of sleep begins to creep in, not through illness or medicine, but through the quiet erosion of daily structure. Retirement, changing roles in the family, and reduced physical activity can all lead to an unpredictable daily rhythm. And without rhythm, the body struggles to know when it's time to rest. In our working years, life is anchored by routines. Waking up at the same time, meals at fixed hours, activity throughout the day, and sleep as a necessary recovery. But when that structure disappears, it becomes easy to sleep in, nap too long during the day, or stay up too late watching television or reading in bed. While these habits may feel harmless in the moment, they confuse the body's internal clock, the circadian rhythm, making it harder to fall and stay asleep at night. Exposure to natural light plays a big role in setting that rhythm. Seniors who spend most of their time indoors, especially in dim lighting, may not get enough bright light exposure during the day to reinforce the wake-sleep cycle. This can trick the brain into thinking it's always evening, dulling alertness during the day and reducing melatonin production at night. Add to this a reduction in physical activity. Many seniors are less mobile due to joint issues, fatigue, or fear of falling. But movement is essential not only for health, it also helps the body feel physically tired by bedtime. Without activity, the body may feel restless and understimulated at night, leading to tossing, turning, and that familiar sense of being tired but wired. And let's not overlook late-day habits. Drinking caffeine after noon, consuming alcohol before bed, or eating heavy meals in the evening are all common behaviors that interfere with sleep. Alcohol, for example, may help you fall asleep initially, but causes disrupted, poor-quality rest in the second half of the night. Meanwhile, large meals can cause indigestion and discomfort that keeps you awake. Establishing a consistent routine, waking up and going to bed at the same time, eating meals at regular hours, getting outside during the day, limiting naps to no more than 20 minutes, and winding down with a calming evening ritual can transform your nights. It doesn't have to be rigid, but consistency, even in small ways, helps reset the body's natural rhythm. Have you noticed your sleep worsening since retiring or becoming less active? Do you have a nightly routine that helps you wind down, or are your evenings a bit more unpredictable? Let me know in the comments. Your strategies might help someone else rediscover the peace of a good night's rest. And if you're finding value in this video, give it a like to support our growing community of thoughtful, resilient elders. 5. Sleep disorders and underdiagnosed conditions. Sometimes, the cause of insomnia in seniors is more than just routine or restlessness. It's a medical condition that goes unnoticed or is misattributed to just getting older. Sleep disorders are common in the elderly, yet they're frequently underdiagnosed. Many suffer in silence, unaware that their sleepless nights might stem from a treatable issue. Let's begin with sleep apnea, one of the most common and overlooked conditions in older adults. Sleep apnea occurs when breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep. These interruptions can be so brief that you don't even realize they're happening, but they prevent your body from entering deep, restorative sleep. You may wake up feeling unrefreshed, groggy, or with a dry mouth or headache. Often, a partner may notice loud snoring or gasping sounds during the night. Left untreated, sleep apnea increases the risk of high blood pressure, heart problems, stroke, and memory issues. Then there's restless leg syndrome, RLS, a neurological condition that creates uncomfortable sensations in the legs, often described as crawling, tingling, or aching. These sensations typically worsen in the evening or at night, making it nearly impossible to fall asleep. RLS can be incredibly frustrating, as moving the legs may bring temporary relief but also disrupts the sleep cycle. Periodic limb movement disorder, PLMD, is another sleep disruptor where the legs or arms jerk involuntarily during sleep, often multiple times per hour. Unlike RLS, these movements continue even during sleep, fragmenting it without the person being aware. Seniors with PLMD may wake up feeling exhausted despite a full night in bed. REM sleep behavior disorder is yet another condition more common in older adults, especially men. It causes individuals to act out their dreams physically, talking, shouting, or even flailing. While rare, it can be dangerous and is often linked to neurological diseases like Parkinson's. The challenge with these disorders is that they often go undiscussed. Seniors may assume these symptoms are just part of aging, or they may feel embarrassed to bring them up. Unfortunately, this silence delays diagnosis and treatment. But here's the encouraging truth. Many of these conditions are manageable with proper medical evaluation, often involving a simple sleep study. You can receive treatment that dramatically improves both the quality and quantity of your sleep. CPAP machines, iron supplements, medication adjustments, or lifestyle changes may offer real relief. Have you ever suspected that something more than stress or aging might be behind your sleepless nights? Or has a doctor ever mentioned the possibility of a sleep disorder? Share your experience in the comments or ask questions. Your curiosity might just inspire someone else to seek help. And if you haven't yet, subscribe for more insights that can truly change your nights and days for the better. Insomnia in later life is more than a nuisance. It's a serious concern that can affect every corner of your well-being. From shifting sleep patterns to chronic conditions, from emotional burdens to hidden medical issues, the reasons older adults struggle with sleep are varied and complex. But here's the message we want you to remember. You are not powerless. Understanding the root causes is the first step toward peaceful, restorative nights. If this video resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend or loved one who might be facing the same quiet battles each night. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. We're building a place where wisdom is shared, stories are heard, and no senior ever feels alone in the dark. Have a tip, routine, or experience that helped you sleep better? Leave it in the comments. We'd love to learn from you. And remember, no matter your age, restful sleep is not just a dream. It's a right worth reclaiming. Sleep well, friends. Until next time.